guys, today I'm going to review some hands that I played on NL100 Russian cash. Let's get into it. Here ace-5 off, button versus big blind spot. So I will open 2.5 here. Standard, he calls, flop counts, queen 10-6. Now we have two decisions. So either we simplify and bet 1/3 full range, which is fine. Not optimal, but fine. And I would recommend for you to simplify as much as possible. Don't get paranoid when you see the solver mixing, and don't think you need to copy the solver. Totally fine to simplify, to look more on simplification till you have like a better understanding how the turns and the rivers are played. They're more important than playing perfectly the flop, because yeah, makes sense. The pot will be larger by the like turn and the river. Bigger the pot gets, so more your mistakes hurt, let's say. And so just keeping it simple and just knowing your range, keeping like your range intact, makes it much easier to understand how to continue turns and rivers. You don't open up so many trees that you need to learn. So this is my recommendation. But at some point you need to also like start mixing, just because your opponents get better. They don't overfold so much anymore. They check raise more aggro. I don't think it's the case necessarily here in a 100 Russian cash. They play quite tight still, but yeah, like just also because it's more interesting for myself, I mix, even if I would think that the 1/3 full range is fine. Yeah, like, and then I look at my hand here. So my thought in game was that ace-5 will be a full range check, and this I wanted to look in the solver then if this assumption was correct. So I was thinking ace, like if I have a heart or a club, I will bet quite frequent, but without I check always. So I want to know if it's mixing sometimes this or always checking. And just in general, looking through the range construction, if something is like unintuitive or something that I can learn still there. And yeah, my sizing would be an overbet. So I decided to check the flop. Let's make it a bit faster. Checking hearts comes on the turn, which is very interesting. The first thought that I had is that he will have like a very big nut advantage, so in flushes. The ace in hearts, king in hearts, jack in hearts, they're all pretty bad for my nutted region, or like, yeah, gives him quite a bit of a nutted advantage in the flushes, because it takes quite a lot of flushes that I would check back away from me. So something like ace jack in hearts, or just jack x in hearts in general, that I would check back sometimes. And it's leaving all the like low flushes in his range. So if there's like a 5 in hearts, then the 7-5 is blocked, the 8-5, like flushes that he would have an advantage in. So the jack is quite bad, to be honest. Looks, I think, better than it is. Of course, we have ace king, but and king 9, we're kind of similar, I guess. So yeah. So my thought was, because I have such a disadvantage in flushes, I don't want to bomb the turn. I don't think it makes sense to go for a very big sizing. So this is something that I want to check. And yeah, at which and if it makes sense then to go bigger on like a 5 in hearts, let's say, or if it's always going small after checking back the flop. This I would like to know. And I think also like he should stab quite aggro. So also looking into the stabbing range of big blind will be interesting. He calls the small bet. I decided to bet small, and it's 40%. And river, yeah, like after, my assumption is like that he will need to continue some 10x some jack X, of course, on the turn, and probably he will overfold a bit, so that speaks a bit against bluffing the river, but still I think something like jack 8, jack 9, I expected to still call on the turn, ace jack, and on the river then to overfold, or like, yeah, just to fold a bit too often. And I thought that he will not have so many slow plays. So I want to check how often should he slow play, especially when I bet so small. I'm pretty confident in the read that people are then too greedy and they check raise and too often with strong hands. So um, then I have to, then he would even need to defend even more, like jack x 10x, just to like not overfold too crazy. So this will be interesting. So I decided to go for an overbet, and let's see if this was fine played. Here on the right side, we will get after that hand to it. So yeah, here folded. Let's look it up pretty fast. So we have here queen 10-6. I already pre-solved it with the AI. NL500 ranges I choose because, yeah, I just think they are quite, they come quite close to reality, how the people play. So big blind check, and let's see, my ace 5 should be a clear check. So this is nice that we got this one. So it's now mixing there. Just mixing if we have any like if we have a 5 in clubs. So okay, that's nice. Then in general, like just looking through the draws, which kind of draws it's checking back. Mostly I look for this like clear checks, like if something is 50-50, not so interesting. But for example, here the jack 9 is quite interesting that we check back, yeah, 100% almost spades and diamonds. That's quite interesting. And yeah, king jack also here, like without hearts, checking back pretty frequent. Yeah, so overall interesting. So let's just go over to the turn. We don't want to spend not too much time going super in depth here. And the sizing that it chooses is 125. I gave also 150, I think 175, so it's choosing 125 here. So check, check, and turn comes the jack of hearts. Here it's nice to see. We want to know how often villain is stabbing the turn, and yeah, how should he play, and how intuitive is it? Like my estimation is that he's not slow playing enough, like strong hands, and yeah, just in general, a bit too aggro with this like nutted hands, so like flushes. So we see 7-5 is betting always, 7-4 always. Here we see some checks. Just want to look real fast about like two pairs also. 9-7 we start seeing like more checking. The 8-7 is 50% check. The 8-5 is 75% check. So yeah, 8-4 is like almost always check. So there are quite a bit of flushes that need to play it slow. King 3, king deuce. So this is interesting. In general, we have a high frequency bet for him, which I think is like he will get it done, I think. Important here to notice that we don't really want to like if we are big blind, let's say, if we are in the situation we want to really play very aggro with this hands that don't really want to check raise and need quite a bit of protection. So queen jack, king queen. So this is like heuristic that we can like remember. And also like because imposition is lacking the nutted hands quite a bit, he's not able to really raise often and play very aggro. Big blind has just too big of advantage there, I think, in very strong hands. So that's why we also get away as the big blind, let's say, if we would be the big blind, by betting pre-mergy, let's say. Or like, yeah, quite wide for value here. Queen checking queen. Not mergy, but like, yeah. We can go pre-aggro with the value bets. Queen 5, this queen x. Also just betting always. Okay, interesting. And I expect a low frequency raise from us, just checking it. So even 0, which is yeah, not very intuitive, I would think. Also in position will be easily over raising here, I think, with something like ace king, with again the strong hands. In general, I think this happens quite a lot, that especially against small bets, yeah, with against small bets, people tend to still like just overplay and fast play too much, which is not changing so fast, I think. Okay, so check, and we look at the sizing. So it's nice. Let's check real fast if it's really this one. We can make 100 and maybe like a smaller one, 25, just to figure out really like the best sizing kind of. But I think this 40 seems quite nice, like around 50%, 40. The 2.2 is like the 40 is. So 2 point, like just small. You can go like 1/3, 40%, something like this. And then let's just fast check if let's say if the turn comes let's say like a brick, how should we delay c-bet the brick? I would imagine that we have then more of this like overbets of queen x though, and not some. Then I don't think we bet small, so that would be surprising to me, and I would learn something. I would expect more big bets, like pot size, just with the queen x that we checked back. So yeah, then it's pot size, which makes sense. And let's do one more thing, like 3 in hearts. Then I think like around 3/4 would make sense. I like to always like play around like this. Still like a pot. So it's really like just when the high flushes get there, just as when villain has a big nutted advantage then. Okay. Interesting. So, and then we look into our hand, actually hand, what it wants to do. Ace 5 off, and we see it's like whatever. It's like same EV, bet or check, so it's a bit of bet, but like really depends how villain is also reacting. So it's not a mistake to bet EV wise. I could imagine that it's a nice exploit, like that I would like to bet always. I think people tend to overfold, but I think it's also in the MDA analysis. Like if you look in MDA data, that the delay c bet, that people are just overfolding to delay c bets and not check raising enough, stuff like this. And if they check raise, they don't have enough bluffs, and also they fast play too much value, so that leaves them open to be attacked on the river. So I think all these factors together want me to like makes me to bet more often here. So I like to always think about this kind of factors. Okay, so then we bet, which I think, which I like. Let's see how he should react. So he should have some like 6-3, 6-4. He should have some flushes that he slow plays, which I don't think happens too much here. Should still call. Okay, fours with a heart. Sevens, eights with a heart makes sense. Ace 8 offsuit with nothing. So we see some unnatural things here for sure. I think 10x will be also close. 10-5 starts to be indifferent here. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so let's go to the river, and river comes a brick, I think. What was the river? Oh no, sorry, the 6 in diamonds. So again, interesting one. I was pretty confident on a brick, or like on a like anything else than like this pairing 6 or pairing card. Let's say they are a bit tricky, I think. But I was thinking in game that 6 is not very relevant. He shouldn't have too many 6x besides flushes that he will anyway fast play on the turn, I would imagine. So yeah, I was thinking it's fine. Interesting that he should develop some leads. I don't think this happens. So let's take out the leads. I always recommend, if you see stuff like this, always delete it. That it's more realistic. We want to get as close as possible to reality, not yeah, to GTO, let's say. And our hand, if it bets, so we anyway, like on the turn it's not betting often, but if it bets, it's again like break even bet on the river, slightly minus. Okay. I think you will see it quite bad, but like it's a minus 0 point. Where is it? Here. Minus 0.12. So yeah, losing slightly, and but we need to consider because by the river it will be very different, the ranges and the reaction. So looking at this, seeing like the slight minus and saying it's a wrong play, again, I don't like too much. I want to see in general in this line kinda how intuitive it is for him to defend, and if it's more likely that he over or under defends. So just looking out for some interesting things. My estimation would be that he's overfolding still. So we see here 9s, 8s, 7s calling. So already this like around almost one combo. 7-6 is trips. Okay, this will call always, of course. So this evens out again a bit. Check 5, check 4 will not start to bluff, I think. King 6. King 6 should also fold sometimes. Okay, this is not looking good. This is looking good. Jack 8 should call. So it's like kind of balancing out. It doesn't really matter if it has like a 6 or a jack. Quite interesting. We are wrapping quite polar here as the button. We say we have a straight or better, so it doesn't really matter then what he has, like if he has the trips or not. That's interesting, and I think this is also something that yeah, humans do often wrong, I think, is to always call this like absolute strong hands here and overfold in this jack 8, jack 9 type hands. I think in general looks like overfold spot. King 10 we see, king jack, ace jack. So yeah, like ace jack offsuit without a heart. I don't think is calling so often. So I'm okay with it. Not like a I like the turn bet for sure. Like I like to the turn bet for sure. River is not so super clear to me, so I need to be careful on the river, but I think it's still fine. This is my conclusion. So my takeaways here is just like flop always check good, turn overstepping or over delay c betting because they fast play too much. Sizing is good. So and river we need to be a bit careful then. If the river is not a 6, then I think he's supposed to call even more check 8, check 9, ace check, then I like it even more. Okay, here I decided to bet 1/3 for range. Against recreational, I just want to play very simple. Yeah, when we bet 1/3, also like, yeah, we keep his range wide, he will do more mistakes, so not overcomplicating. I just play my hand. My ace 8 suit, I don't want really to bet huge here, I think. But yeah, it's fine. Ace 8 with backdoor flush draw, I think it's fine. Big bet, then we get more folds by like crap hands that we yeah, we just want this fold equity on the flop, so it would be fine, I think. But going small and then yeah, bluffing some turns is I think also fine. So not like doesn't make too much difference, I think. And river is then a standard call. Next hand was the 10-9. Will be an interesting one. Normally I fold when he makes it 2.5, but he makes it 2x, so yeah, I need to defend 10-9 off. 10-8 off I would just fold, even if it's like close, but with the rake I would fold. 9-5-5, very interesting board. Like in my mind was directly that I have a huge 5x advantage because I will defend some 6-5, 5-4 offsuit, yeah, 7-5 suited, this kind of hands. Not sure 6-5, 5-4 offsuit if I'm able to defend it with this rake, but anyway I have a big 5x advantage even if I don't have this ones. I will have 5-2 suited, 5-3 suited, all this kind of 5x. So I could develop some leads, but I think also like the people are still over. This is one of the boards that people are over c-betting quite easily, I think. So going for high frequency check raises, I think makes sense. And then also going quite thin for value, I was thinking. So in game, I thought like to go small with the check raise. I don't like going big. But I didn't know how small we should go. Like which sizing is nice here when I want to check raise very, very aggro. So this we can look in the solver. So this is the first question. So I decided to check raise, and I thought with the 10 of clubs, it's yeah, like almost always a check raise, to be honest. I want to be very aggro here. 3 diamonds, like yeah, brick. Considering my like because I go small on the flop, I was and I'm quite mergy still, so I don't just rep 5x, I rep a lot of pocket pairs, a lot of 9x. So just bombing or checking the turn that didn't seem correct. So I was thinking that we can still continue small if we want to continue. And because of the small bet on the small check raise, we keep his range also quite wide still. He's supposed to defend, I would imagine, like queen check with the backdoor flush draw, king queen backdoor flush draw, like offsuit, and spades. So like king queen check with the club or king queen with the club also. So all these kind of hands, we want to defend against them. So we can still go small and thin for value, I guess. So that was my assumption. So I wanted to check if this is correct, this assumption. But I decided to check this one. Also, I was thinking a bit, because we block something like ace 10 with the 10 of clubs, king 10 with the 10 of clubs. So I block a bit the hands that check 10 with the 10 of clubs. I block a bit the hands that I want to like fold out, or like kind of protect my equity against. And river, and I was not totally sure if this is a bet on the turn, to be honest. And river, I was thinking then that we have like a pretty clear bet. To be honest, I don't see much reason to check, because I think population is overstepping the turn, especially if they have a jack high, queen high on the turn. I think the standard reaction by population is to just step small, which is totally fine. Normally, people are pretty unbalanced as the big blind here when they check raise and check the turn. They check fold too much, they under check raise, so overstepping small makes sense. But if you have something like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, I think it's a very intuitive check back. So I was, to be honest, putting him a lot in this region, like his range, very heavy towards this region. So like checking doesn't really make sense. He will not reopen too often as a bluff. So I need to go for value myself. Also against sixes, sevens, eights, I think totally fine. Now the interesting thing comes. He's raising. So now my thought process was, okay, like what is he checking back and raising the river? We have nice blockers for sure. Like what he's wrapping quite a lot is check backed flush draws that he's raising now. Flush draw that is checking back the turn and rivering the flush. Yes, that makes sense. Or something like aces with a club. This we don't block, of course, but just having the 10 of clubs I think was nice. Also for like a second, it went through my mind to maybe bluff shove it, because I was thinking, okay, we block nines, we block 10x flushes. But to be honest, nines are not relevant. I don't think you will check back a full house on the turn. And I don't think that he's really able to fold flushes on the river. So yeah, he's supposed to fold something like a flush around like probably 50-60% of the time. It's the main value part that he's wrapping. Aces probably with a club. He's also having kings with a club sometimes. This ones would be also like just some frequency call, and I think people can level themselves easily into a call here with aces with a club, or kings with a club. So I don't think this is a great spot to bluff. So I really like that I didn't go for the bluff. Was just this is sometimes like something where I need to be careful, that I put a bit more thought before I do something. But I like the that I didn't bluff. I decided to call. I thought just having the 10 of clubs is just quite valuable, because I block his flushes, and we still it really depends what he's doing with his like ace king, ace queen, ace jack with a club. If he's just calling them, then I calling or folding, then I should not call, but I'm just not sure. So I think then I stay with theory, and I think in theory it should not fold, but or maybe just frequency, we will see. So let's look into this one. Probably after this hand analysis we will stop this part, and I will make again like another part from it, from this footage. I like to go pretty deep when I look into the hands. I don't like the shallow like reviews, let's say. I prepared also another hand, but yeah, I think keeping it with this one and then making another part will be better. So 9-5-5 flush draw. I prepared it again. We will have some donks, so Not so many as I thought. To be honest, I thought like more around 30%, but yeah, it's donking quite a bit. Again, important that you delete these things if you see them, if you don't use it. Yeah, so check, and I expect the high check for sure not to range bet. So yeah, I guess like around pretty much like 50-50 or even a bit less betting. Yeah, a bit less, so like 38%. So very easy over like over c-bet spot for in position. Already against this, I think we have a very high check raise frequency. I consider very high, above 25%. But if he's range betting, then I think it goes crazy. Then I could imagine going like very crazy, like around 50% or something. I don't know, like something very, very high. So here we see 20, yeah, more than 25, so that's nice. And my 10-9 should be yeah, quite frequent check raising. Interesting that it's not choosing so much the 10 of clubs. I thought it's choosing more 10 of clubs, but makes kind of sense. We get, if we check raise, he's supposed to continue like king 10 with the 10 of clubs sometimes, and or always, it's getting close, but always, and then we block the continuing range. Queen 10 with the 10 of clubs should always defend. So like this is like kind of the sense behind it. I think that we block the hands that we get value from. So even though that we have a bit more backdoor equity, so just keeping it in my mind, just learning there a bit, but it doesn't, like, it's not a huge difference. But with the backdoor spade, it really don't want to do it. So like if you have 10 of spades, you really block a lot of backdoor flush draws that will continue. Yeah, and then it doesn't like to do it. Okay, but villain decides to range bet, probably. But we are not sure. So how we approach this. So let's look into just, we leave it like this, and then we make an alternative scenario, let's say, where he's range betting, and we see what the difference is. And then maybe like we can go something in between then in game, because going with the extreme of him saying like him playing perfectly this 38% betting frequency is, I think, not great, and also just assuming that he range bets, or like that he bets everything, maybe also not the best. So something in between for reality is quite good, to just have the intuition how to react. But interesting that the sizing which it uses is smaller than what I used. So it's using 25%, which is very interesting. So I can remember in this kind of spots, this is something that I learned, is like to go like even smaller. So like this is a spot where we use like really like kind of this clickback sizing, where we have a big advantage in this nutted region, like this 5x, huge advantage. So we go very aggro there. We go for the raise, and he shouldn't re-raise that much. So that's a big benefit, and why we can go so thin. A bit similar to the spot before, where out of position the big blind can like stab very frequent small on the turn, because just in position is just not able to raise because of the disadvantage in nuts. So yeah, very interesting. In position just don't want to build a pot here with this disadvantage. Very important, this heuristic. Okay, call. And here, probably here, it's already happening that they overfold a bit, but yeah, king jack with a club, I don't think is so hard now to get this calls. I don't imagine them to be super difficult to get. Maybe queen jack, queen 10 will start to overfold. So call, but not sure, so I will not go there too extreme. Turn came the 3 of diamonds, and I expected to go small and high frequency. Yeah, It's nice that it's going small. It's 40%. So we can say after going so thin for value, just how the ranges are constructed, we are not just wrapping a 5 or nothing on the flop. We have a bunch of 9x that still want to get value from all these overcards. We keep also his range quite wide with the small check raise. So very interesting. Very tricky spot, to be honest. So like, but very interesting to play here. Okay, king jack, king queen. Just looking through if I see something interesting. My 10-9 is the only one that wants to check always. I can imagine just because we blocked this like overcards. It's kind of the same reason why it's not check raising so often on the flop, I think. Then on the turn it's a bit more clear. Okay, and also this 10 of spades checks always, so it's probably this reason, just blocking this overcard region. So if we bet, I expect like this, yeah, jack 10, queen 10, we block the folds, the hands that we want to attack, kinda. Okay, interesting. So till now was well played. Let's see. He should step small or check, makes sense. And I don't think he gets so many checks. Here, I'm pretty sure this is pretty far off reality. I don't think 9s is checking back. I don't think 10s jacks is checking back at all. Jack 10, queen jack, like this overcards with a club, I don't think is checking so often. So yeah, it's a bit tricky now to come close to reality. But let's stay with this for now. Check, check, and river comes deuce of clubs. And we see that we should bet small, which is nice that we got this one. So yeah, very aggro with the small bets. I think it's 25%, yes. So like 30%, 25%. One interesting, like one question I had is like if we also have 10%. So just checking 10% sizing. I work at the moment quite a lot on this, like just implementing this understanding or intuition when to use the 10% and how wide, and just a very interesting play. Let's see. So there's a region that wants to go 10%, like 6s and 7s, and I think we can get quite interesting like reactions by imposition. But I don't like it so much here because villain's range contains mostly ace highs, which we don't really make indifferent, I think, by betting one big blind. So I don't really like one big blind here in this spot, but just interesting that Sova is using it. So if we would bet one big blind, I would expect that yeah, he should, we kind of make more indifferent as like queen jack, king queen, which you don't have enough in my opinion. Like they step too often the turn with it, I guess. So therefore I like the 1/4, and 10-9 is a nice bet. Let's see how he should react versus the 1/4 and see what we should do. Like for a second there was like in my mind that I want to bluff it, but yeah, like I said, I don't really like it because I estimate, or like I expect his flushes, because most of his value range comes from flushes. I think that the population goes a bit too thin with kings and aces with a club, to be honest. But even if he has them a bit, I think that villain needs to fold flushes quite frequent. So I don't think it's a good spot to attack, and I would really not like it if I would jam there without thinking too much about it. So like going with this like first thought of like, oh, I have good blockers to the nuts, I think would be a quite big punt, but let's see. Raise will be interesting also if we call. So okay, we call. It's a pretty clear call, winning 2.7 big blinds, which is interesting. And a pretty bad raise. Pretty bad raise, yes. It's around like losing 4 big blinds. But this is against GTO. I expect the population to not fold enough. So let's see. Just interesting what he should fold. And we see here the flush is folding a lot, like Jack 10, Queen 10, King Queen. Even the ace highs are folding almost always. So I really think this would be burning money, bluffing in this spot. Just attacking like such a strong range, I think it's not a good idea. You need to have a lot of discipline to fold here in the spot, the ace high flush, of course, or king high flush. So I think he can easily call himself, talk himself into a call. Or just not knowing that it's a fold sometimes, which is also like very reasonable. Okay, what else we wanted to know? I think that's it for this one. I think in general we played it very nice. So the takeaways are that we raise small the flop. We can go even smaller when we have a big nutted advantage. So it's easy for imposition to over c-bet the spot if it's an unexperienced rake, or like just, I think most rakes on NL50, 100 still are likely to over c-bet here. Just, it's also like this lazy, like very easy to be lazy and to mix. If you have here kings and I don't know, like you don't think too much, I think, often about it. You need to really play your A game to get a decent mixing here, and yeah, most players don't do it, so very likely that they over c-bet. And so we can check raise even more. Then turn, when we check raise a lot and brick comes, so like we don't rep only nutted hands, then we need to implement some small bets. This is very important. This heuristic and just the understanding when to use the small bet on the turn. It's also very, very useful, I think, especially when we go very small on the flop and he has still like king high, queen highs that we just put in a shitty spot by betting small. And river, yeah, really depends how a villain is reacting. If he is never raising ace x with a club, if he's not bluffing, basically, then and just calling passively, then we should never call. But I just don't know him. So like if I would know that he's a nit, a big nit who's not likely to bluff, then I would probably make the fold, exploit the phone. But I think in general, like just calling is the safer play, staying with the GTO play, or like kind of what we should do in general. And yeah, other than that, I think this is it. So the next hands I will go over yeah, next time. I have a few more hands to talk about in this session. They are very interesting. So thank you for watching and see you to the next one. Bye bye.